क्योंकि जब बोलते हैं ना कि बुरे टाइम में पता लगता है कि अपना कौन है। जब हम रोड पे घसीटे जा रहे थे तो छोड़ के बीजेपी को देश में जितनी भी पार्टियां हैं वो हमारे साथ में थी, हमारे दर्द को समझ पा रही थी।
देश की बेटियों की जो आवाज उठाई उसका भुगतान हम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये चीज हमें पता लगी कि जो अत्याचार बेटियों पे हुआ जंतर मंतर पे, उसके साथ सिर्फ बीजेपी पार्टी खड़ी हुई और सभी पार्टियां हमारे साथ खड़ी थी।
देखिए, कुल मिला के एक राजनीतिक चक्र में मैं समझता हूँ हमारे वो साथी खिलाड़ी हैं उसमें फंसे थे, उस समय फंसे थे। आज उसका पटाक्षेप हो रहा है।
जनता भी और मीडिया के साथी भी और कई बार बुद्धिजीवी भी ये सवाल तो पूछेंगे। ये डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री है तो उनका भी अधिकार है कि सवाल पूछेंगे।
Don't play politics on all these issues. They already resigned from the job. Do the formalities quickly and relieve them.
जो आंदोलन था, जो बहन बेटियों की लड़ाई थी, वो उसको गलत रूप ना दिया जाए। मैं अभी भी उस पर डट के खड़ी हूँ।
Okay, let's open this up to our panelists who are joining us. Pradeep Bhandari is national spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Sharma Mohammed is national spokesperson of the Congress Party. Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist who's been covering the Congress Party for a number of years now. Professor Sanjay Kumar is co-director with CSDS and one of India's foremost psephologists. Let me start with you, Pradeep Bhandari. So there are two separate issues here. Vinesh Phogat, Bajrang Punia joining the Congress Party. Yes, you can attribute political motivations and so on and so forth. But to say that the allegations of sexual assault against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh were actually politically motivated is far from the truth, because at the end of the day, forget about what Vinesh has said or Sakshi Malik has said or what Bajrang has said and what 6 other people have complained against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh. A court of law in the national capital has found merit in the charges to frame charges against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh. A court of law prima facie believes there is material that's been produced before it that charges of sexual assault, grave sexual assault, can be brought forth against Brijbhushan Sharan Singh. That to join politics or join the Congress Party, or Bajrang join the Congress Party, or Sakshi Malik not wanting to join any political party. Those are two separate issues. Pradeep.
Zaka, in fact, that is why the case has not been taken back and the matter is sub judice, and the case is following the due process of law. So we are absolutely not against any athlete, and we believe that every athlete has a right to a political opinion and a political, join a political party. But foremost, our question definitely is that whether the entire movement, whether Vinesh and Bajrang were used as political pawns by the Congress Party in order to further their agenda in Haryana. This is not what I am saying. In fact, if you deep dive into Sakshi Malik's statement, in fact, the inference from her statement is that the entire movement of the wrestlers should not be discredited because of politically Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia joining the Congress Party. You spoke about women right. I completely agree that across political ideologies, it should have a unanimity that we should stand with the Beti of India. But look what happened in Jammu and Kashmir today. If you look at what happened in Jammu and Kashmir today, this individual, his name is Lal Singh. He is the star campaigner of the Congress Party. He is the same individual who took out a rally in favor of the Kathua rapists. The Bharatiya Janata Party removed this individual. The Congress Party rewarded this individual. If you remember that there was a lady called as Mr. George who was in the Congress Party who alleged that there is casting couch in the Congress Party. The Congress Party suspended the respected individual. If you remember that still now Priyanka Vadra has not stood with the Bengal ki beti. So for us, the Beti's Nyay or women rights are not political in nature. And with respect to Vinesh's case, Zaka, if you remember that even after the protest, when she went to the Olympic, it is this government which had provided her all dutiful support which was required. But our allegation and charge is that the Congress Party looks at political benefits and chooses and picks athletes, and whether it is farmers, athletes or anybody, it looks at
Okay.
only and only political benefit. And if the charge on us is just a 10-second point, they'll file. And this is not what I am saying. If you read the statement of Mahavir Phogat, this is Mahavir Phogat's statement, and he categorically says that when Bhupinder Hooda had asked that we will make them, we will offer them a Rajya Sabha seat, Mahavir Phogat categorically said that this is a political stunt by the Congress party. They did not even offer us a DSP position, leave apart giving us a
No,
Rajya Sabha
Mahavir
seat.
Phogat
So
is
the
a different person.
using
He
people
might
for
be the
political
uncle
benefit
of
is not our cup of tea.
Vinesh Phogat, who made her
Yes.
who she is or whatever.
Yes.
But he's a different person. She's a different person.
Yes.
She's free to make her choices. But Dr. Shama Mohammed, the larger
Absolutely.
question that's being asked is, has Vinesh Phogat, by joining the Congress party today, put her own political ambitions, her own personal ambitions in politics ahead of the cause of other individuals who came forth and made those grave allegations against Brijbhushan Saran Singh? The question is, was she using the protest as some kind of a launch pad for a political plunge? And now that the political intentions are clear, both of Bajrang and of Vinesh Phogat, doesn't that vitiate the apolitical nature of the protests that the wrestlers first, I mean the women wrestlers first, and then subsequently all wrestlers came and protested in Jantar Mantar?
Okay, so first and foremost, the BJP spokesperson who's sitting here today, he has no audacity to talk about how things happen, how who's joined politics. What was his profession before being here? We all know what he was doing. So leave it to him. Now, my point here is, there is a charge sheet by Delhi police, like you mentioned, where they said that this man, Brijbhushan Saran Singh, after our investigations, what we have understood that he should be prosecuted for sexual harassment, molestation. This is exactly what the Delhi police. So the case was given to Delhi police. The Delhi police comes under the Home Minister of this country, and they have found this in the investigation, one. Number two, there is a woman here who was protesting, who was a medal winner for 6 months, all right? And she did not get justice from the system here. So I am proud that she's joining my party and is going to fight for women, because she's understood that she needs to be politically relevant to fight these issues. She took on Brijbhushan Saran Singh, a member of parliament and the president of the Wrestling Federation. She did not get justice. I went and visited them in Jantar Mantar. They were sleeping there outside for 6 months. And when the new parliament building was inaugurated, they were protesting outside. When Brijbhushan Saran Singh was inside, the police beat them up. This is her story. Now, I want to ask a question. This gentleman said, Pradeep Bhandari, he was talking about how we support, according to him, rapists. Sunil Sangwan is their candidate from Haryana. Now, what is Sunil Sangwan? He was the prisons in charge. And in 2022, this Haryana government got in a law called the Haryana Government Good Conduct Prisoners Temporary Release Act 2022, which empowers a jail superintendent to recommend a convict there for good behavior, and then the state or the court gives a judgment. Now, this man, Sunil Sangwan, is recommended 6 times for a convicted rapist. I'm not talking about a rapist who's not convicted. Gurmeet Ram Rahim to get parole. Remember, convicted rapist, convicted killer. This is what Sunil Sangwan did. Then what did they do? They gave convicted rapist and killer of Bilkis Banu remission. What were they doing after the remission? They were garlanded by the Bharatiya Janata Party people, and they were doing prachar or campaigning for the candidate. Third, they have given a candidate called Manju Huda a ticket. Who is Manju Huda? She is the wife of Rajesh Huda, a gangster. So let's understand what's happening on them, their side. Our side, we have supported, and Priyanka Gandhi has talked against the rapists in
Pradeep Bhandari, respond to that, and then I'll go to the other guests as well. Pradeep Bhandari, the point is that the charges against Brijbhushan Saran Singh have been perused by a court of law. The court of law has said it's material enough to frame the charges against him. So to say that just because Vinesh Phogat has joined a Congress party or any political party, those charges are getting diluted or those charges have gotten politicized, come on, that is absolutely blatantly wrong.
Sunil Sangwan? Ask him about
And the Sunil Sangwan question. Okay, yeah, Sunil Sangwan question. Yeah, respond to that.
Manju Huda.
No, one second. Sunil Sangwan, yeah, respond to that.
Yes. First of all, I was not sitting in protest and claiming or to be the harbinger of women rights or some rights. When I joined politics, I joined it from there was no ulterior motives attached here. Now, let me answer that. I think Shama Mohammed should give a call to Bhupinder Hooda rather than me answering the question. So let me reiterate what Bhupinder Hooda said on this entire thing. Parole granted as per law, former CM Bhupinder Hooda. This is Bhupinder Hooda's statement. Please go ahead and see
Statement
it.
by producing a statement like that doesn't become a statement. I didn't hear Bhupinder Hooda say that. No, you can just take out something and put it up.
Decide among
this yourself. Is not justified.
Do not speak over
no,
me.
one second, please. Dr. Mohammed, one at a time. No, if he's lying, no, it's not mine. No, 1 second. If you have facts to the contrary, please, by all means, I'll give you time to say that. But let him make his point, and please, let's not speak over each other. Yeah, please, Pradeep, substantiate where you have made this Hooda point from. So what is the source? Yes, what is the source? Where did Mr. Hooda say this?
This is Mr. Hooda's statement when Mr. Ram Rahim was granted parole, and when parole, he was asked, he said, parole granted as per law. It is reported. If you do a basic Google search, you will find it. It is not what I am concocting. So just when she Googles, she will find the statement of Bhupinder Hooda. Now please look at the statement. Now please look here. She's calling about speaking about ladki. This is, come on, how gratis can she get Zaka? She was speaking for 2.5 minutes, all half-truths.
Okay, Pradeep, you still have not. Pradeep, you have not cited the source.
Please.
I am discounting that. Go ahead. If you have the source cited, otherwise, no, you have not cited the source. You have not cited the source. You have said Google search. Google search is not a source.
Come on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Google, come on.
Answer the Sunil Sangwan point. Answer the Sunil Sangwan point. Answer the Sunil Sangwan point, please.
Okay, let us do things.
Yeah.
Please, let us do this, okay? Because he will not understand, she will not understand. Here it is. Please go ahead and see, please. It is reported everywhere. It is reported by CNN. It is reported by every news channel. When he was given a parole, please go ahead and read it. So it is not what I am concocting it. Mr. Bhupinder Hooda made the respected statement. She has not answered to me that their party has given ticket to an individual, Lal Singh, who had backed the Katua rapist, and he had taken out today. They made him a star campaigner.
Okay.
A lady who alleged casting.
I want to move to Rashid Kidwai. I want to move to Rashid Kidwai and to Dr. Sanjay Kumar. Let's have Rashid Kidwai and Sanjay Kumar on the frame, please. Rashid Kidwai, the point is that the BJP firmly believes that the entire thing against Brij Sharan Singh was orchestrated, and now ipso facto they can say that, look, this was politically motivated. The Hoodas were backing it. The Congress party was backing it. 2 days ago, they met Rahul Gandhi, and today they've joined the Congress party. This whole thing was politically motivated. What is the Congress party's counter to that?
Zaka, first of all, I think national political parties like the Congress and the BJP need to be far more sensitive about these issues. To say that a wrestler, a woman wrestler would level, and not one, 6 of them, 7 of them would level allegations of sexual harassment just to have an eye on politics so that they can contest election. This sounds incredible, it sounds bizarre, and it sounds incredible insensitive as well. So therefore, political parties should refrain. See, sports persons have a right to join politics, from Dara Singh to Kirti Azad to Mohammad Azharuddin to Rajyavardhan Rathod. A lot of them have joined, and so this is a welcome addition, regardless of which political party they're doing. The BJP should take them on a political thing. And what happened in Paris Olympics, it has made, Vinesh Phogat a kind of a national heroine. And we all are proud of her. We all feel that she was wrong. So therefore, the BJP, politically speaking, is committing a mistake. First of all, they are alleging, having taken such a strong and a very different kind of stand in Bengal. Now they are saying that a kind of a protest relating to sexual harassment against a federation chief was politically motivated, in the sense that, after years or after months, she could join politics. This sounds quite incredible and very, very insensitive, very shallow also. So I would appeal to national political parties not to take up these issues, because
it's almost like saying tomorrow, if let's say the Abhaya's parents were to join the BJP to contest elections, or 10 years ago Nirbhaya's parents were to join some political party and contest elections, therefore the crime against their daughters are discounted in some way. I think it's absolutely insensitive. I think it's absolutely appalling that just because a person who has leveled sexual allegations against a person who happened to be at that time a BJP MP and the head of the Wrestling Federation of India now happens to join a political party, that doesn't in any way discount the charges. The charges have to be examined on merit, and that merit of those charges, at least a court of law in Delhi has found to be good enough prima facie to frame charges against the individual concerned, the accused concerned. But I want to ask about the larger political question to Dr. Sanjay Kumar, which is that clearly this is with an eye on the upcoming Haryana elections. Clearly, she's been given a ticket to fight from a place, I believe it's called Jalore, where of course the proportion of Jats is quite substantial. Across the state, statewide in Haryana, I believe the proportion of Jats is about 11 to 12%, and there is significant vote bank, which in this election, it seems like they're very vocally against the BJP, and therefore, Vinesh Phogat's entry into the Congress party believes will give a rallying point for the Jats of Haryana to vote decisively against the BJP. Question is, will that be enough? Because the BJP's politics is non-Jat. So all the Kurmis, Sainis, all the other non-Jat OBCs are being bunched together by the BJP, and that's how they've been in power for the last 10 years in Haryana. Will those politics still work given Vinesh Phogat's entry into the Congress party?
Zaka, if you look at BJP's politics, you rightly mentioned that BJP has aimed at, like mobilizing non-dominant OBC caste, and this is their politics this has been their politics in Bihar, UP and in Haryana, and they have been successful between 2014 and 2024 till to 2024 Lok Sabha elections, because they managed to win 2 assembly elections without having a Jat leader, without having a Jat chief minister. They managed to perform extremely well in 2019 Lok Sabha elections. They won all the 10 seats. But look at what happened in 2024. In 2024 Lok Sabha election, BJP lost 5 of those 10 Lok Sabha seats. I think there is a clear indication that yes, in the initial 10 years, that strategy paid dividend to BJP, but no more this strategy is going to pay dividend. At least it did not pay dividend to BJP in 2024 Lok Sabha elections. My own sense is that they have to go with the strategy of mobilizing non-Jat OBC voters along with other sections of the society, but BJP is not going to get dividend from that the way they managed to get it in 2014 and 2019 assembly election. BJP would be in trouble because Jats are angry, Jats are unhappy, and it seems that Jats
but Prof, the question is, the Jats are anyway angry supposedly against the BJP. Will the addition of Vinesh Phogat as a Congress candidate sort of further that? Because like I said, that vote bank is about 10-11%. They're already anyway disposed against the BJP. So what further incremental addition will a Vinesh Phogat bring?
No, I don't think that Vinesh Phogat joining Congress is going to make huge difference in the way Jats were likely to vote. I don't think if Vinesh Phogat had not joined Congress, then Jat would not have voted for Congress in a very large number. So yes, you're right. I would agree that Vinesh Phogat joining Congress giving her a ticket, that's not going to make a huge impact in how Jats are going to vote. Anyway, Jats were already, in my opinion, Jat seems to be highly polarized in favor of the Congress, and they were, even without Vinesh Phogat, they were likely to vote for Congress in a big number.
Okay. So let me ask Pradeep Bhandari. So here are the factors that could help the Congress with Vinesh Phogat joining the Congress party. One, of course, the consolidation of the Jat vote. The Jat community has been upset with the BJP. Predominantly, they are farmers. They were protesting at the various borders of Delhi. They are seeking legal guarantee of MSP. With Vinesh Phogat on board, the Congress gets a chance to get more support from women, from youth, from sportspersons. She has become a bit of a youth icon, if you will. The fight was against Wrestling Federation former chief, Mr. Brijbhushan Sharan Singh, and the comeback after the Paris heartbreak, that could strike a raw chord with the masses. And also the entry can bring together the farmer community as well as the Jat community, thereby consolidating a substantial number of vote banks as far as the Congress party is concerned, whereas the BJP, and evidence is there to show from the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, that this non-Jat OBC consolidation has come apart. It's come apart in a way that BJP won 10 out of 10 in Haryana in 2014 and in 19. In 2024, you were able to manage only 5 out of 10.
Zaka, we are extremely strong in Haryana and we'll be forming the government in Haryana. The Congress party it has applied all tricks in time. Congress is, trying very hard to form an alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party. So had the Congress party initially been very strong, it would not look at an alliance with an Aam Aadmi Party, which had lost deposits in 90% of its seats in the last assembly elections. Point number one. Point number two, have you seen a single picture of Kumari Shelja, Bhupinder Hooda, Randeep Surjewala on a single stage holding hands with each other? If you remember, when Bhupinder Hooda was asked the statement, Mr. Shelja wants to be the Chief Minister of Haryana, he said, anybody can be the Chief Minister of Haryana, even you as a reporter can be a Chief Minister of Haryana. So he completely dismissed that question. That is point number two. Point number three is the Bharatiya Janata Party has released its seats. 75% of the candidates have been declared. The Congress party still not have declared its seats because it knows that every seat there are many Congress in Haryana. So we are very, very confident because we have taken Haryana from Bhashtachar of Parchi Kharchi towards development. If you look at any statistics, I can debate on it. And you were asking me about another source of, just a second, you were asking me of source. Here is the source of Network 18 of Bhupinder Hooda saying that the parole given to Ram Rahim is as per law, and also with respect to that individual Sunil Sangwan, he was a jailer who resigned and joined the party. There is no quote-unquote cases on it. Now question is, when will the Congress party speak about Bengal ki beti, about Nari Nyay? When will the Congress party speak about, backing an individual like Mohit Khan, who is responsible for raping a 14-year-old daughter? And for us, Saina Nehwal, Vinesh Phogat, or any individual who has done great for the country, we respect their sporting contribution. But when they join a political party, it is a right to question their political motives. It is not discrediting the allegation because the case has not been taken by us. It is sub judice and the charge sheet is filed and it is moving forward. But my question is, the Congress party looks at everything politically. If the Congress party would not have looked at it politically,
Shama
they would not have made
Mohammed, you
sexist
asked her a
crimes
question.
against
Dr.
Saina
Shama
Nehwal and Bengal ki
Mohammed,
beti.
you have been waxing eloquent for the last couple of years about the wrestlers and how they've been wronged and how they've been dragged by the Delhi police. You folks did not have a word to say for the last 3 weeks about what's happening in Bengal. What happened to this young doctor? You're a doctor yourself. Has Rahul Gandhi gone and visited the family of the doctor who was raped and murdered? Have you gone and visited the family of the doctor who was raped and murdered?
So
Has any Congress leader? Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has gone. He is a leader of your party. But I believe he is not in the good books of your party leadership.
So can I speak now?
Who has gone?
Yeah, can I speak now? All right. Now you gave this man a lot of time. I also need my time. He is saying about Haryana, I'll come to your point, Haryana, that look, where is Randeep Surjewala, we are all together. When they released the 67 list, first list, Minister Ranjit Singh Chautala's name not there, MLA Lakshman Das Napa, both of them have resigned from their party. They're having huge issues there, including there as well as Jammu and Kashmir. When they release the first list, they had to withdraw the list. They again release the list. We are not doing that. We are going to release a list where there will be no issues and there are not going to be any confrontations. Number one. Number two, you spoke about Bengal ki beti. Rahul Gandhi condemned it. Priyanka Gandhi condemned it. I have unequivocally
He called it distraction, Zaka. He's lying. She's lying on your show.
On top of that, you're asking why Rahul Gandhi has not gone there. Why has the Prime Minister of this country not gone to Manipur? Why has the Prime Minister of this country not responded to Vinesh Phogat when she was protesting for 6 months in Delhi at Jantar Mantar? All he could have done is, listen, Vinesh ji, come and meet me. Like Sonia ji, as well as then Chief Minister Sheila Dixit, Manmohan Singh met the protesters when the Nirbhaya Hatyakand happened. They met them and asked them, what do you want? We will sort it out. That's when the Criminal Amendment Act came up. So we are always with our betis. If you see, whether it is Hathras, whether it is what happened in Calcutta, the issue with them is Kolkata is not politically motivated. But this is what happened with Vinesh Phogat is politically motivated. Badlapur is politically motivated. Hathras is international conspiracy or Antarashtriya Shadyantra, according to Yogi Adityanath. So this is the problem with them. We have taken the same stance against all rapists in this country. We stand with any beti over here. Whether they are in BJP, whether those people are in
One thing, Dr. Mohammed is tweeting about it. The other thing is going there and standing by the family of the victim. I'm sorry to say, neither Rahul Gandhi nor Priyanka Gandhi nor any senior leaders of your party have gone to Kolkata. That's a fact. No, I absolutely agree with you. By that same token, the Prime Minister not going to Manipur is also a valid point. Yes. Okay. No. 1 second. What is the difference? Pradeep Bhandari, what is the difference?
I will tell you the difference. The Prime Minister of the country did not call Manipur distraction. When Rahul Gandhi was asked the statement, he called the Bengal rape and murder as distraction. How can he call the murder of Beti in Bengal as distraction? He called distraction in front of the media people. That is the difference. We do not politicize that.
Let me now move away, please. Let me go to Dr. Kumar and Rashid Gidwai for the final word. Dr. Kumar, the point, the electoral impact of this is what we are concerned about. Do you see a Jat versus non-Jat sort of divide happening in Haryana as a result of all of this? Because clearly, the Congress party is going all in on the Jat vote. Mr. Hooda is their chief ministerial face for all practical purposes. A large number of his supporters, candidates have been accommodated. Perhaps the reason why they're not releasing the list, we're given to understand, is because Mr. Hooda is dead against this alliance with the Aam Aadmi Party, whereas Rahul Gandhi wants the Aam Aadmi Party also to be given a few seats. But it's clear that the Congress is concentrating front and center on the Jat vote, and the BJP, for whatever reason, is not. But do you see a Jat versus non-Jat sort of fault line in the Haryana election?
It may it is a poll plank by the two political parties. But from voters' point of view, I don't think that on the ground the contest is likely to be Jat versus non-Jat. If there is a Jat candidate, all the non-Jats are going to unite just to defeat the Jat. So on the ground, if you look at from social community point of view, I don't see contest emerging as Jat versus non-Jat. When I said Jat versus non-Jat, which is to say, if a Jat candidate is there, all others unite because they have to defeat the Jat candidate. That's not the case. I think it's more like Congress versus BJP. If there is a Congress candidate, yes. If it is a Jat, then it becomes more aggressive. But it is likely to be Congress versus BJP rather than Jat versus non-Jats.
Okay. Rashid, final word. I have to wrap up in 30 seconds. But this whole thing, ultimately, BJP has released 67 out of 90. Its first list. Of course, you can say that, a couple of ministers have resigned, there's a lot of rebellion. We'll see when the Congress list is announced what kind of rebellion there is. But the Congress has not released its list. And one of the reasons I'm given to understand is despite the Central Election Committee clearing some of the names, a large number of the names back on Monday, it's the end of the week now on Friday, and yet the reason why the list has not been released is two factors. One, this whole business of allies. Rahul Gandhi wants to give a few seats to Aam Aadmi Party, a few seats to Samajwadi Party, but Mr. Hooda is dead against it. And two, more importantly, accommodation of Mr. Hooda's loyalists versus the others who are sort of factional leaders in the Haryana Congress, whether it's Mr. Surjewala, Ms. Selja, etc., etc. So the Congress, it's the challenger, momentum, etc., but they're not even able to release their list. Rashid.
I think, Zaka, their internal assessment is, they are very optimistic about it. They are fancying like 60 or plus, assembly seats out of 90. And therefore, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, who wants to keep this India alliance story, hot for Maharashtra elections and Jharkhand elections. So he wants to accommodate Aam Aadmi Party. So Congress is not going to have greater disquiet because of, Zaka, that when they sense victory, then they come together. If they were losing Haryana election, then you would have said, you would have seen, Surjewala saying something and Selja saying something and Hooda saying something. Because they are so, collectively, they are so sure-footed about victory in Haryana that is uniting them. I just one last thing I want to tell about, my friend Pradeep Bhandari is displaying the name of, Chaudhry Lal Singh. Lal Singh came from BJP actually. The Congress, and when he was in BJP, the Congress was opposing it. This is a real problem and a problematic formulation by all political parties. There's a difference. Because they are not sensitive.
Okay, I'm out of time. Thank you very much. Pradeep Bhandari, Shama Mohammed, Rashid Gidwai, and of course, Dr. Sanjay Kumar for joining us. We'll see how this story plays out in Haryana. Yes, Vinesh Phogat entering the Congress party and contesting now on a Congress ticket, you could look at it as a bit of a coup as far as the Congress party is concerned. But the bigger question, and I would be curious as a student of politics in this country, I would be curious to see whether it leads to some kind of Jat versus non-Jat consolidation in favor of Congress and BJP respectively in Haryana, or whether or not the rebellion that we're now seeing in the BJP can be contained, and whether or not after the Congress list is released, whenever it is released, whether or not we will see some kind of a rebellion there. These are factors that we will keep an eye out for. For the moment, thank you very much for, in fact, we're going to take a break. What we're going to do is on the other side, we're going to shift focus to the Israel-Gaza war. For the last 7 months, the war has been bloody. It's consumed a large number of lives. A big focus has been on Gaza. But now in the last week, almost about week, 10 days or so, Israel has been bombarding the West Bank. The West Bank was thought of to be relatively peaceful because it was being governed by the Palestinian Authority, had nothing to do with Hamas. But for the last 10 days or so, Israel has been bombarding the West Bank. On the other side, we will explain to you what the Israeli thinking is, why they're doing this, and what the blowback is potentially for the operation that's happening in the West Bank. Quick break, we'll see you on the other side.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree.
In 2024, she became the first Indian woman wrestler to have reached finals at the Olympic Games. However, we know, most disappointed news, India heard that point of time she had been disqualified. In the same games, she had also become the first international wrestler to defeat the then reigning Olympic champion Yu Sasaki. After the disqualification, she announced retirement.
On with us, we have in fact live visuals now coming in. Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia there on stage. You see Congress leaders KC Venugopal, Pawan Khera as well. The formal induction is just going to take place. There is going to be comments to the press that are followed by the induction as well. The CEC is going to be meeting later today of the Congress party, which means right now we will not have any certainty of whether either of the two, Vinesh Phogat or Bajrang Punia, would be contesting in the upcoming elections. That's perhaps a discussion that the CEC undertakes, and then a list comes out post that. But there will be an indication of what is next or what's in store as far as the Congress party is concerned for these two. Are they just going to be a part of the party? Are they going to be campaigning for the Congress party? Or will they be contesting this time around? Pallavi, we are just standing by for that press conference to begin.
नमस्कार साथियों, आप सबने इंतजार किया, उसके लिए धन्यवाद। लेकिन इंतजार एक ऐसे पल के लिए किया जिस पल की आप सबको भी इंतजार थी। कुछ ऐसे दो साथी हमारे जो आपके सामने बैठे हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत कुछ जीता और इस देश का दिल जीत दिया, ऐसे दो साथियों का हम स्वागत करने के लिए यहां इकट्ठे हुए हैं। सबसे पहले मैं हरियाणा के प्रदेश अध्यक्ष श्री उदय भान जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि इनका वो स्वागत कहें, दो शब्द आप कहें।
हमारे ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी के जनरल सेक्रेटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आदरणीय श्री वेणुगोपाल जी, हमारे हरियाणा प्रदेश के इंचार्ज जनरल सेक्रेटरी आदरणीय श्री दीपक बावरिया जी, आदरणीय श्री पवन खेड़ा जी, आज जो हमारी पार्टी में सम्मिलित होने जा रहे हैं, हिंदुस्तान का गौरव, जिन्होंने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर दुनिया में पूरा अपनी प्रतिभा का जो परिचय दिया और इस देश की आम जनमानस का दिल जीतने का काम किया, आदरणीय हमारी बेटी विनेश फोगाट, श्री बजरंग पूनिया, दोनों ने ओलंपिक में जिस तरह से अपनी प्रतिभा का प्रदर्शन किया, पहले बजरंग जी ने और अब फिलहाल के जो अभी फ्रांस में हुए, जिस तरह से विदेश हमारी बेटी ने दुनिया की जो सबसे बड़ी पहलवान को चित्त करने का काम किया, उसने पूरे हिंदुस्तान की जनता का दिल जीतने का काम किया। और हम सभी हरियाणा वासियों को तो बहुत बड़ा गौरव है कि हमारे हरियाणा से ऐसी हमारी बेटी ने जन्म लिया। हमारी प्रतिभावान जो हमारी देश की जो खेल के स्तर पर जो ऊंचा बढ़ाने का काम किया, आज वो हमारी पार्टी में शामिल हो रही हैं। अभी वो खेल के अखाड़े में थी और राजनीति के अखाड़े में उतर रही हैं। मैं उनका हरियाणा प्रदेश कांग्रेस कमेटी की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं, अभिनंदन करता हूं।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी। मैं माननीय केसी वेणुगोपाल जी हमारे
Russian President Vladimir Putin is in Mongolia this week, where he's paying an official visit. This is despite the country being a member of the International Criminal Court, or the ICC, which has issued an arrest warrant for the Russian leader over war crimes. Putin traveled to Mongolia this week. The visit was officially announced by the Kremlin last week. Mongolia's foreign ministry also announced on its website that Putin will be visiting the country and meeting with the Prime Minister and the Speaker of the Mongolian Parliament. This is Vladimir Putin's first trip to an ICC member country since the International Court issued the arrest warrant for the Russian president last year. The case against him was the forced transfer of children to Russia after Moscow's all-out invasion of Ukraine. Under the Rome Statute governing the court, member countries are obliged to act on an ICC arrest warrant if the subject is on their territory. On Crux Decode, what sort of pressure is on Mongolia to arrest Putin? Is it obliged to do so as a signatory member of the International Criminal Court? Or are there diplomatic exemptions allowed to member states, particularly when the person who is accused is a visiting head of state who has diplomatic immunity and who is also to be treated as a guest of the state? Nations of Mongolia ignoring the ICC order. Moscow has said it was not concerned about the possibility of Putin being arrested in Mongolia. There are no worries. We have great dialogue with our friends from Mongolia, said Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov at a press conference last Friday. He said all the aspects of the visit were carefully prepared. The Ukrainian government, meanwhile, has called on Mongolia to execute the ICC warrant against Putin when he visits the country, in the hope that Mongolia understands that Putin is a war criminal. That was a statement put out by the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry last Friday. They've also called on the Mongolian authorities to execute the mandatory international arrest warrant and hand over Putin to the ICC, something that Mongolia appears loath to do, particularly to a visiting state guest. Putin's visit to Mongolia is his first to an ICC member state since the body issued an arrest warrant. The court alleged that Putin is responsible for war crimes, saying that he failed to stop the unlawful deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia when the conflict began. An ICC spokesperson told the BBC that Mongolian officials have the obligation to abide by ICC regulations, but he also clarified that this did not necessarily mean that an arrest had to take place. Dr. Fadi Al-Abdullah, who's a spokesperson for the ICC, told the BBC that the court states parties, which includes Mongolia, have an obligation to cooperate in accordance with Chapter 9 of the Rome Statute. That is the agreement which was the basis for setting up the International Criminal Court in the first place. The agreement says that in some circumstances, states may be exempt from the obligation to carry out an arrest where they would be forced to breach a treaty obligation with another state. In addition to this, states are also exempt where it would violate diplomatic immunity of a person or a property of a third state. In this case, Vladimir Putin, as the visiting head of a state, does have diplomatic immunity, and it would likely violate bilateral agreements that Mongolia has with Russia. In the case of non-cooperation, ICC judges may make a finding to the effect and inform the Assembly of States parties of the decision that's been taken. It is then for the Assembly to decide whatever measure it deems appropriate to be taken. Meanwhile, Alexander Merezhko, who is the head of the Foreign Relations Committee in the Ukrainian Parliament, has suggested that Ukraine start negotiations with Mongolia to convince it to execute the arrest warrant. If these negotiations do not lead to the desired result, which is Putin's arrest, then you can always turn to the Assembly of Participating States, which should be held at the end of the year. This was according to a message that he put out in a Facebook post. The International Criminal Court, which is based in The Hague in the Netherlands, has 124 members around the world. Both Russia and the United States are not members of the ICC. Mongolia would be defying its international obligations as an ICC member if it allows Russian President Vladimir Putin to visit without arresting him. Welcoming Putin, who is an ICC fugitive, would not only be an affront to many of the victims of Russia's crimes, but also undermine the crucial principle that no one, no matter howsoever powerful, is above the law. This is according to a statement by Maria Elena Vignoli, who is the International Justice Senior Counsel at Human Rights Watch. The international human rights organizations have also framed this as a chance for the Mongolian government to demonstrate its commitment to justice for international crimes and the ICC by denying Putin entry or arresting him if he were to enter the country. The court alleged last year that the Russian president was responsible for war crimes, focusing on the unlawful deportation of children from Ukraine to Russia. It has also issued a warrant for the arrest of Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights, Maria Lyubova-Belova, for the same set of crimes that Putin has been charged with. It said the crimes were committed in Ukraine from the 24th of February 2022, when Russia launched its full-scale invasion. Moscow has previously denied all the allegations and labeled the warrants issued by the ICC as outrageous. The ICC has no powers to arrest any suspects and can only exercise jurisdiction within its member countries. The ICC's arrest warrant for Putin was the first one that it issued against a leader of one of the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Putin has avoided traveling to any ICC member state ever since the warrant was issued, which he has deemed as null and void. Last year, Putin cancelled a visit to a summit in South Africa following the ICC warrant for his arrest. That was for the annual BRICS summit, which also included China and India as participants along with Russia. Putin eventually addressed that summit by video conference. As a signatory to the court, South Africa should have detained suspects in its territory, but then President Cyril Ramaphosa at that time had warned Russia would see this as a declaration of war. Ramaphosa said that the decision for the Russian leader to not attend the summit was a mutual one. This time around, Putin's planned visit is at the invitation of Mongolian President Ukhnagin Kurlisek. Putin is in Mongolia to attend the celebrations of the 85th anniversary of the joint victory of the Soviet and Mongolian forces over the Japanese on the Khalkhin-Gol River during World War II. Allowing Putin's visit would also signal a reversal of Mongolia's support for the ICC. Just a few weeks ago, on the 15th of June, Mongolia had joined a statement by 94 ICC member countries declaring their unwavering support for the ICC in light of growing threats against the court and its officials. In 2023, Mongolia also nominated one of its Supreme Court justices, Justice Erden Balsuren Damdin, to join the ICC bench. He was then elected as the first Mongolian ICC judge. Mongolia has faced the same choice as South Africa did in 2023, but has chosen to overtly flout the ICC. So then the question is, what's in it for Mongolia? Well, for one, Putin has promised Ulaanbaatar cheap access to oil and gas. He's also talked up the trilateral meetings between Russia, Mongolia and China. He's given interviews to the Mongolian media ahead of his visit. In an interview to a Mongolian newspaper, Onodor, Putin said that Mongolia will be able to use part of the cheap gas that will flow through the country via a pipeline from Russia to China. Mongolia also wants to buy fuel and lubricants from Russia at preferential prices. For Ulaanbaatar, the stakes are high. Mongolia's energy security is deeply tied to its neighbors, which is both Russia and China. Russia, in fact, is the source for 95% of its petroleum products, which account for 35% of all imports in Mongolia. Mongolia's export-led economy, which is driven by raw material like coal, copper and gold, is highly reliant both on Russian fuel as well as, of course, on Chinese appetite to import these raw materials. As the Russian war in Ukraine rages on, causing death or severe injury to more than 500,000 people so far, both sides are strategically targeting critical energy infrastructure, including oil refineries. The Energy Ministry of Russia reported a ban on fuel exports, including gasoline sales, starting the 1st of March 2024, citing saturation of domestic market. However, Moscow did make some exceptions for a few friendly countries, which includes Mongolia. Now, in the choice that it faces between upholding a global order and its own energy interests, Mongolia has put its money on Putin. For more than a week now, hundreds of Israeli forces have carried out the deadliest operation in the occupied West Bank since the war in Gaza began. Their focus has been the Jenin refugee camp, which is a bastion of Palestinian militancy, which has grown more and more fervent since the Hamas attack on the 7th of October last year, which of course forced Israel to launch this war. The fighting in Jenin has accounted for 18 out of the more than 30 Palestinians who've been killed so far just in the past week alone. Most of these people, the Israeli military says, have been hardcore Palestinian militants. Israel says its soldiers are dug in for the long battle with Hamas, meaning that the death toll is likely to rise from the West Bank attacks as well. Israeli military officials say the operation targets militants in Jenin, Tulkarem, and the Al-Farah refugee camps and was necessary to curb the recent attacks against both Israeli civilians and policemen. A number of Israeli civilians and police officers, including in cities like Tarkumiya and Gush Etizon, which is a large settlement, have been attacked recently, and these attacks have become more and more sophisticated and more deadly. One Israeli soldier has also been killed in the operation. 2 others were injured when a car was hit in Tubas, which is another city in the West Bank, which has also been attacked. This attack happened early Thursday. Israel's military said it struck an armed terrorist cell and armed groups who claimed the dead as their fighters. Palestinian media also said that a 16-year-old boy was also shot dead by Israeli forces in the Al-Farah refugee camp, which is close by. The military said that forces killed a terrorist who was armed with an explosive device in an exchange of fire, that the strike was targeting different militant groups. So for 9 days now, Israeli forces have been raiding the northern cities, including Jenin and Tubas, as part of what they say is a major counter-terrorism operation. So far, at last count, at least 36 Palestinians have been killed, and that includes 21 from Jenin, 8 from Tubas. This is according to the official statistics released by the Health Ministry of Palestine. Most of the dead have been claimed by various armed groups as their members, but the Palestinian Health Ministry says there are several children are also among the dead. That includes the 16-year-old girl I was talking about a moment ago. She was reportedly shot inside her home in Jenin on Tuesday. One Israeli soldier has also been killed during that fighting in Jenin. In fact, it also named one of the 5 men who were killed in the airstrike in Tubas as Mohammad Zakaria Zubeidi. He was 21 years old, and he is said to be a significant terrorist from the Jenin area. He's also the son of Zakaria Zubeidi, who is the imprisoned former commander in Jenin of Fatah's armed movement, the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. He's also the alleged mastermind of a jailbreak that happened in 2021. The Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade confirmed in a statement that Mohammad Zubeidi and 4 other fighters were killed in what it called a treacherous Israeli strike. The Palestinian Health Ministry says 3 Palestinians have also been killed in the southern governorate of Hebron over the last 10 days. The Israeli military said that one of them carried out a shooting attack which killed 3 Israeli police officers near Tarkumiya on Sunday. On Tuesday, Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant also said that the IDF must use its full strength to combat what he called the resurgence of terrorism in the West Bank. There's been a spike in violence in the occupied West Bank territories since Hamas's deadly attack on Israel back on the 7th of October last year, which of course led to the war in Gaza. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed as Israeli forces have intensified their raids. They say they're trying to stem the deadly Palestinian attacks on Israeli settlements as well as outposts that are happening, originating from the West Bank and happening in mainland Israel. So, that's not all. Israel has also been actively encouraging the establishment of what they call outposts, where it floods with Jewish people armed with cash, weapons, and other resources. These outposts are at the vanguard of attacks against Palestinians in the West Bank. The numbers of these outposts have risen rapidly in the recent past. A new BBC News analysis shows that there are currently almost 200 of these outposts across the West Bank, and just 30 of them were set up in the last year alone, which is more than in any previous year where records have been kept. The outposts can be farms, there are clusters of houses, or even groups of caravans, which often lack defined boundaries, and they are illegal both under Israeli law as well as international law. What is also stark is there are multiple organizations who have close ties to the Israeli government who have allegedly provided money and land to these outposts, and that is then used to establish these new illegal structures. Experts say that outposts are able to seize large swathes of land more rapidly than the settlements, and they're also increasingly linked to violence and harassment towards Palestinian communities. Some of these are also linked to growing violence against the Palestinian communities inside the West Bank. Just earlier this year, the British government had sanctioned 8 extremist settlers for inciting or perpetrating violence against Palestinians. At least 6 had established that they were living on these illegal outposts. Meanwhile, the governor of Jenin city, Kamal Abu ul-Rab, has said that the Israeli army is preventing water and food from getting to families who are trapped inside certain besieged areas. In response, he contends its refugee camp and families in the largest refugee camp in Jenin have been forced to leave their homes. The main objective, according to the Israeli Defense Forces, is to prevent Palestinian resistance groups from gaining sufficient strength to pose a direct challenge to Israel. Israel effectively governs and polices much of the occupied territories of the West Bank. It's got a capacity to enter and exit at will. The proliferation of illegal Israeli settlements and these outposts, which are designated solely for Israeli use, that complicates the prospect of a viable two-state solution. Israeli security officials have cited a number of recent Palestinian attacks against the Israelis, including a car bombing that happened in Gush Etzion, which is one of the largest settlements in the area, and it's killed 3 Israeli police officers in Tarkumia. The Israeli Defense Forces say these 2 were the trigger for the current military offensive. The officials also noted that they were wary of causing any kind of unintended consequences in the West Bank, and that includes the risk of a broader escalation. What is also interesting is that the Palestinian Authority, which governs the West Bank, has closely cooperated with Israeli forces in the raids that happened in Jenin and Tubas. The Israeli military aims for a calmer West Bank by the month of October, which is a major month. There are a number of major Jewish holidays in the month of October, and the last thing they want is to open up a second front in addition to what has already been going on in Gaza. The Israeli forces do not want to have a second front opening up in the West Bank. The Palestinian Authority, which has also secretly joined these operations, they have been left weakened, directionless, and resistance groups have been bypassing the Palestinian leadership to try and confront Israel in the West Bank, sometimes even violently so. So it's not just Hamas in Gaza that Israel is up against, but also these militant groups which are outside the purview or the remit or the control of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, which have also gotten into the act. The West Bank, since this war began on the 7th of October last year, had so far remained relatively quiet. But now, that quiet has been shattered.
से आग्रह करूंगा कि एआईसीसी की तरफ से वो 2 शब्द कहें।
धन्यवाद। Today is the big day of Indian National Congress. A proudful moment for all of us to join Vinesh Phogat ji and Bajrang Punia ji inside the platform of Indian National Congress. Vinesh ji, hailing a family from Brussels, when she was 9 years old, her father was shot dead in front of the house of a relative of her family. Can you imagine that? When a girl child was 9 years old, her own father shot dead nearby the family premises. But her conscious mind brought her here. Her braveness brought her here. Her courage brought her here. Becoming a 3-time Olympian, having completed in 3 different weight classes, 48 kg in 2016, 53 kg in 2020 and 50 kg in 2024. In 2024, she became the first Indian woman wrestler to have reached finals at the Olympic Games. However, we know, most disappointed news, India heard that point of time she had been disqualified. In the same games, she had also become the first international wrestler to defeat the then reigning Olympic champion Yu Sasaki. After her disqualification, she announced retirement.
On with us, we have in fact live visuals now coming in. Vinesh Phogat and Bajrang Punia there on stage. You see Congress leaders KC Venugopal, Pawan Khera as well. The formal induction is just going to take place. There is going to be comments to the press that are followed by the induction as well. The CEC is going to be meeting later today of the Congress party, which means right now we will not have any certainty of whether either of the two, Vinesh Phogat or Bajrang Punia, would be contesting in the upcoming elections. That's perhaps a discussion that the CEC undertakes, and then a list comes out post that. But there will be an indication of what is next or what's in store as far as the Congress party is concerned for these two. Are they just going to be a part of the party? Are they going to be campaigning for the Congress party? Or will they be contesting this time around? Pallavi, we are just standing by for that press conference to begin.
नमस्कार साथियों, आप सबने इंतजार किया, उसके लिए धन्यवाद। लेकिन इंतजार एक ऐसे पल के लिए किया जिस पल की आप सबको भी इंतजार थी। कुछ ऐसे दो साथी हमारे जो आपके सामने बैठे हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत कुछ जीता और इस देश का दिल जीत दिया, ऐसे दो साथियों का हम स्वागत करने के लिए यहां इकट्ठे हुए हैं। सबसे पहले मैं हरियाणा के प्रदेश अध्यक्ष श्री उदय भान जी से आग्रह करूंगा कि इनका वो स्वागत कहें, 2 शब्द आप कहें।
हमारे ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी के जनरल सेक्रेटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आदरणीय श्री वेणुगोपाल जी, हमारे हरियाणा प्रदेश के इंचार्ज जनरल।
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. The US-China relationship may have a new pain point, the US dollar. China is betting against it with tens of billions of dollars for the US currency to fall. China is also pulling in resources to challenge Wall Street. This is a significant departure from the time when the two economies depended on each other. So what shape will this new race take and how will it impact the rest of the world? We'll discuss that tonight. Meanwhile, here in India, auto sales continue to fall and they're blaming it on heavy rains and heat waves. We'll explain. In the US, President Joe Biden's son Hunter has pleaded guilty in a tax evasion case. He faces up to 17 years in jail. Will Biden pardon him? In France, President Macron is being accused of stealing the election. His prime ministerial pick has triggered protests. In Russia, President Putin's secret sons have emerged, 2 of them. We'll tell you what the reports say. Trump wants to set up a sovereign wealth fund for